You know, ladies and gentlemen, 1987 was an important year. Aside from the fact that I was a sophomore in high school, got my first car, it was the first time the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed above 2,000. The American Motors Corporation was purchased by Chrysler. Ronald Reagan nominated Robert Bork to replace the last great true Virginian Supreme Court Justice, Lewis Powell. Don Mattingly got the highest salary arbitration award of any baseball player in the history of sports, $1.9 million. Kind of makes Albert Pujols' $250 million he just got. Puts that in perspective. The #1 song in 1987, any guesses? It's Faith by George Michael. The largest stock market crash ever to occur was in 1987. The average cost of a house was $92,000. The average monthly rent was $395. And guess what? A gallon of gas cost 89 cents. And it's also the last time we talked about the gas tax in all seriousness around here. Now, you've heard a lot this week from our caucus about it. You heard from Delegate Watts early in the week. You heard from our caucus chairman just yesterday. I'm going to cover it from a little different angle. As many of you all know, I'm sure have heard me talk about this, there's a little road that runs through my district and also runs through the Speaker's seat. 36 different legislators are touched by this road. It's called Route 1. It's one of the oldest roads in the United States. Route 1, in my district, they estimate to do what's needed will cost $800 million. And that's before you talk about putting in a metro line, putting in light rail, or doing a cheap transit option, which is bus rapid transit. $800 million. We've been waiting in my district over 20 years to do something about this. 20 years now we've been waiting since Senator Poehler first got elected in 1991. She said this was going to be a priority for her, and we're still waiting because there isn't any money. When I first got elected, I called up the Northern Virginia Transportation District Administrator, and I asked him, why don't you come take a tour of my district? So we started in Delegate Albo's seat down at the Polo Grill, got in a car, drove up to the Beltway and back. It's 14 miles. Took us 2.5 hours in rush hour to go 14 miles. That's life in my district. Now, the problem with the things we talk about around here in my district, you can't put up toll booths, all right? Tolling roads in my district is kind of like trying to measure water coming out of a hole in a sieve. It don't work. We can't do a public-private partnership to pay for this. There's only one way to deal with it, and that's to get more revenue in the system. Now, what has this lack of attention meant in my district? It's meant a lot of things. It's meant some long commutes. It's meant a lot of delayed arrivals home. What does that mean every day? It means about, once a week, I have an unhappy wife. So, folks, I'm telling you, this transportation, folks, it's about the sanctity of marriage. I'm telling you. If I got an unhappy wife, there's about 500,000 other guys out there in Northern Virginia that are having problems too. You cannot predict when you're going to get home. You can't predict when you're going to get to a softball game. I got to add 10 minutes on every trip just to make sure that I'm not late delivering my child to their gymnastics class or to softball games. That's life in my district every single day. What else does it mean? There's a 12-acre lot on Route 1 in my district. Sat empty for 12 years. This lot is 7 miles away from Washington, D.C., and the parking lot just grew grass in the cracks in the pavement. They couldn't find anybody willing to develop it. 12 acres, 7 miles from Washington, D.C. Why not? Because you couldn't get to it. The traffic was so bad every day, nobody wanted to develop it. So what does that mean? It means blight. It means a lack of jobs. It means a lack of opportunity for the folks that live in my district. And it isn't getting any better because just a couple years ago, the U.S. Army announced that they wanted to bring 9,000 jobs to the outskirts of my district, take people off a metro line and put them onto the roads to the military base that is right at the edge of my district. What does that mean? More traffic. And that's what's happened. They opened up an $800 million hospital right on the edge of my district, and now it takes me an extra 5 or 10 minutes to get to work if I take a road that goes anywhere near there. And that affects thousands of people every day. And the last thing I'll say, Mr. Speaker, is what else does this mean? I I went to the DMV because I was just curious about what this means in terms of pedestrians in my district, because there's a lot of people who get hurt in my district. And I asked the DMV, tell me how many people have either been killed or injured, pedestrians, since January 1 of 2009 on this 7-mile stretch of road. 7 people dead, 55 people injured. My constituents cannot walk down the street to get their groceries without putting their life at risk. You show me another stretch of road in this Commonwealth where you got 1 death per mile and you got 8 people injured walking in the last 3 years. I don't think it exists. So, Mr. Speaker, this isn't just a matter of matrimonial harmony, the quality of our family life, the quality of our life. It's not just a question of economic development. Our not dealing with this for 20 years is also costing us lives, and it's costing a lot of injuries. It's a problem we need to deal with, and we need to quit putting things in the back burner. We need to quit telling our constituents they can have their cake and eat it too. I don't want to give you all a cake again this year. We need to deal with it. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.